Hi everyone and welcome to this very exciting course, Investing in Canada. So objective of this is to enable you to make investments in the most efficient way possible. So what would you learn in this course? So we'll start with different type of investment accounts that are there in Canada and what are their features. So we'll talk about tax-free savings account and the features of that, which investments can you add into TFSA and which investments you should add into a TFSA. Then we'll talk about registered retirement savings plan. What is this type of account? What are the features? How do you get tax deductions, right? And what type of investments are most efficient in this type of account? Then we'll talk about registered education savings plan. This type of account is for your children and how you can plan your children's education and take government grants, that is use government's money to invest. So we'll talk about that also. We'll talk about margin accounts where you can borrow money against your investments and then invest again, and we'll also talk about non-registered accounts. So these are the different types of accounts you can open with an investment dealer, a broker or a bank. So we'll talk in details about different types of accounts at the start of the course. Then we'll move on to where can you invest? What are the different things you can add into your investment accounts? So we'll talk about each investment class. We'll talk about how can you invest in real estate, either in physical form or in an investment vehicle called as REITs, Real Estate Investment Trust. We'll talk about like why real estate is a good investment, what are the things to look out for, and like what are the common pitfalls you should avoid. We'll also talk about like the process of buying a house. What are the key features you should focus when you're buying your first or your second house? Then we'll talk about stocks, right? So what are stocks, how you can add them, where can you invest, how to analyze a stock. We'll talk about a bond, right? How to invest in a bond of government, so the government of Canada bonds, or you can buy bonds of big banks. So what are the features of that? We'll talk about famous product like that is really taking up in Canada called as ETF, exchange traded funds. So these are type of funds where you hand someone else your money to manage. So which ETFs to add, what is the concept of a core ETF, what is the concept of a satellite ETF, how do leverage ETFs work, what are emerging markets ETF, what are international ETFs. We'll talk about all of this. Then we'll talk about mutual funds. Over $1 trillion is invested in mutual funds, over and above that, right, by Canadians. So it's a very famous product. We'll talk in details about different type of mutual funds, what are their features, and how you can plan your retirement or your child's education using this product. Then we'll talk about guaranteed investment certificates. These are the debt products that are available from bank. So how to add it, what are the features, all those things. We'll talk about commodities, cryptos, and insurance products too. So we'll talk about each investment class in details, and I will highlight the features of each one of them. Then we'll try to combine all the concepts that we learned in the previous thing where we were discussing investment classes, and we'll construct a portfolio. So I generally start with psychology of money because psychology is very important. Long-term success of an investor has nothing much to do about how educated he or she is in investments. It has to do a lot with temperament. What kind of psychological makeup does the investor have? So we'll talk about that. Then we'll talk about long-term investment strategies, what works in long term, how to be patient, right, where to invest, like what are the common pitfalls when you invest in the long term. Then we'll understand the long-term market cycles. So there are debt cycles, there are equity cycles, there are commodity cycles that you should be aware of. Then we'll talk about an important concept of diversification. Diversification is not putting all your eggs in one basket. So not over investing in one asset class. So a lot of people in Canada are over invested either in real estate or stocks, which neither of which is good, because real estate markets also go down, which is important to understand. So if you're over investing in one asset class, your risk goes up significantly. Then we'll talk about how we can use even leverage that is borrowed money while we are investing. What are the things to avoid, when to use that, and when not to do that. Finally, we'll talk about a very important concept called as core portfolio and a satellite portfolio. So core portfolio is where your 70 to 80% of wealth should lie. It follows the tortoise approach. That is the approach I recommend for it. So build your wealth slow and steady, and the focus is reducing the risk. Satellite is where you take the risk and like you go into things like crypto or tech stocks or individual stocks. All those are part of your satellite portfolio. So we'll talk about creation of core as well as satellite. Then we'll talk about fundamental analysis and technical analysis about the markets. So how to analyze real estate, how to analyze stocks, ETFs and such. The final part of this course will be learning from success stories. So these success stories are taken from everyday people who are making extraordinary gains. So we'll identify the habits that are your strength and weakness. Then we will try to focus on escaping self-destructive behavior that will demolish wealth. So a lot of behaviors, like example, we generally go for hype. Whenever a stock or real estate is hyped, we tend to buy it, which we should do the exact reverse of. When people are buying, you should focus on selling. If people are selling, you should be focused on buying, right? So how to change that mentality? Controlling your mindset and a daily regime for making the right moves, mimicking proven strategies used by legendary investors. So we'll be talking about a lot of legendary investors in real estate, a lot of legendary investors in the stock market. Then we'll talk about protecting your investment and retirement money from distracting noise. So how to avoid the market noise, how to avoid the news cycle noise, unlearn the behavior pattern that limits your potential, increase your odds of achieving financial independence. So in this we'll talk about the FIRE principle, financial independence, retire early. So this is a very famous principle which we'll spend a lot of time on. Then how to reprogram your thinking from being a loser in investments to being a winner in investments. Then instilling confidence in yourself to make money in any market climate and improving your overall investment results. So where can you access the entire course? So of course some videos are available on YouTube on our channel EduFin Wizard. So I've given a link of that. So in the playlist you can look for Investing in Canada playlist. So under that I'll be uploading some free videos, additional content, links to Excel sheet, portfolio construction and management tools, all of these things are available on Udemy. So the entire course is available on Udemy. So I've given a link of this and I'll be also posting the link of this course in the description. So thank you for listening. I hope you have a great day and looking forward to working with you in your journey to financial independence.